Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the In Conversation With podcast with me, Mike Phillips. Today's guest, I want to introduce Sharon. Sharon is an intuitive coach and mentor teaching the traditional principles and guiding you to connect to yourself, mind, spirit, and purpose to bring joy and freedom. Hope you enjoy.
Good morning.
Hello. Good evening from the UK.
Oh, that's right. It's evening for you.
Yeah. How are you?
It's 8 o'clock there?
8 p.m. Bang on 8 p.m.
Very good.
Nice early one for you.
6 a.m. Nice and early, but that's all good. I'm an early riser.
Just as well. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for jumping on.
That's okay. So you've got a podcast. I was just looking at it. So In Conversation With. Cool.
Yes.
So it's new?
Brand new. Yeah. So you are episode 2. So it's hopefully steadily grow. Hopefully get it growing and get as many guests on as we can then.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good. Well, thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming on.
That's okay.
I suppose we best start off with just telling everybody a bit about yourself.
Yes, so Sharon Cliffe, I'm an intuitive business coach and mentor, and you might ask, what is that? So I am a certified business coach, and business coaches look at, strategy and marketing and sales and processes and systems and all that sort of stuff. And I've been working with businesses for 20-something years on that. And what I discovered about 18 months ago is that we can have all the best strategies and plans, and we can hustle and do all the things. But if we don't actually look after the person that's actually driving everything and the person that's leading, the success is limited, and you end up, because you focus on doing all the things and hustle and all that you actually end up burning out, which is what happened to me. So I, about sort of 18 months ago, took a test called the passion test, and it just really brought home where I was focusing my time and my energy and where I was putting my attention was nowhere near what I was actually passionate about. And it really changed my whole, I guess, outlook on life and what I was doing. And I was putting my attention to the things that didn't really matter to me, and the things that I was really passionate about, I was sort of, leaving in the background. So this test was just so profound for me. I actually ended up doing coaching, the actual certification in this, and now I'm a passion test facilitator. So from that day forward, I started to look at, I built a successful consulting business, and I was fully booked, but I was burnt out and I wasn't loving what I was doing. And I was saying yes to clients that I shouldn't have. And I was sick of doing all the marketing, the hustle, and all the stuff. So I sort of went, you know what? I'm going to follow my passion. And my passion was to help female entrepreneurs to have a business they love, but to actually have a life they love. So focus on building the life they love, and then have the business fit in with that, rather than have your life fit into your business. So it was sort of flipping what we've always been taught. And I kept looking. So, I've got this newfound passion, and I thought, I was really tired. I wasn't energized. I was cranky, and I just wasn't fulfilled. And so I was looking everywhere for answers. And I went on this conference in November last year, and they were talking about, everything you need is within you. And I was like, yes, look at how I was feeling, look at how I was showing up, look at my energy. And it all sort of came back again to that sort of, going with my passions. And when I started to look at that and went, everything that I need is inside me, and I'm everything I need. And once you actually start to look after the person, look at where what energizes you, what lights you up, what drains your energy. So I started to focus on doing more of what energized me and what lit me up, and less of what drained my energy. And that, with looking at my passions and then really working on a positive mindset and changing the conversations I was having with myself. So I guess that sort of, so what I do now, because getting back to the question about what I do, is I now really focus on that intuitive coaching. So it's about, being aligned with your passion, so that what you want to show up in your life shows up. Working on energy management, so that you're leaving, starting the end of the day really energized, and you're refilling that energy every day. Doing what's aligned with me, so things that aren't aligned with my passion or that aren't energizing me, I say no to, because we always say yes to everything, and saying no is more powerful than saying yes. And just, being in flow. So doing everything easy. Like, we make business and life so hard, and it's just about, so, the mindset, the passion, the flow, the alignment, the ease. And so what I do now is work with women to get all of that holistic side of it done. And then we can sort of work on, the strategy and the plans and all that sort of stuff. So that is what I do in a long story.
Excellent. No, that's fine. Like I say, I haven't planned any structure for these podcasts. I just want it to be just it's like I'm not sure if you've listened to the last one, but it's like I was saying previously on the last podcast. I think the art of sort of conversation is sort of dying off, and people tend to be sort of looking down on their phones more than actually communicating.
Absolutely.
So I've sort of, it's almost like a selfish reason I've sort of set this podcast up, is just so I can speak to different people, and obviously doing it this way opens up, the whole world to speak to people and a range of different things to speak to people about.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've got a podcast, and mine's the same. It's not structured questions that I send to the guest, or that we premeditate beforehand. It's just like, okay, these are a couple of things that we're going to talk about, and just let it run, because that's how it flows naturally. That's how we talk naturally. And I think people relate more to this type of podcast. So, good on you for starting something like this, because not many people do. They want that sort of real structured and, fine-tuned podcast. And people, as you said, people don't want that now.
No, it's it. And I listen to such a variety. My sort of my background is fitness and coaching myself, and I listen to a lot of that. And that the majority of that tends to be structured. I listen to some that are 5 minutes, but also I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan's, which are 1, 2, 3, 4 hours long sometimes. So yeah, I listen to a variety, but people tend to be in the cars listening to these, and I just want it to be something they can come back to if they're interested as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So so you said you went from consultations to your intuitive coaching now. Was it along the same lines, or is it completely different?
With the consulting, it was more really getting, in the trenches with the business owner. So, not coaching, sort of more like, you're giving them, you're giving them the strategies, and you're sort of guiding them through, and, sharing some of your experiences and stories, and just starting to it's basically, a lot of coaching is around just actually having the conversation and getting the person to talk about, what they're going through, what their problems are, what their roadblocks are, and just starting to work through. Because a lot of the times it's just them being able to get it off their chest and get another perspective. And then sometimes, when they're talking to you and they're starting to work through it, they actually end up finding the solution themselves. And that's what the conversation's about. Whereas with consulting, it's more, okay, this is what you need to do, and you're helping them do it. So you're actually doing the work with them. Okay. And so it's a lot more about, not just going, okay, well, this is what you need to do. It's actually helping them to do that. So whether it be actually sitting there nutting out, working what your marketing plan is, or your business plan, or sitting there and actually planning out the event in more detail. So I guess, the coaching is sort of that more. Coaching and mentoring is more of that sort of higher level. Okay, what's your vision? Where's your mindset at? Sort of giving them the different tools, and whether we need to work on different methodologies and modalities. Whereas, and they sort of go off, and they do it, and then they come back to you if they sort of get to a sticking point. Whereas, the consulting is more, you're there, right next to them, helping them. If they've got a problem, you're actually there working through it, with them. So yeah, I guess it's that and what I started to do is because as I started to do when I did my coaching certification and my passion test facilitator certification, I then started to offer some coaching, or started to get into that coaching role with my consulting clients. And they're like, when you step into that coaching role, you change, like your energy shifts, you light up, and like now you can see, you start to get energized and you get animated and you've got a smile on your face. And they just went, you need to do this. And I was like, yeah, because unbeknownst to them, I'd done, the passion test and all the inner work and all that sort of stuff, and went, yeah, this is what I love. So I then had to go to those clients and say, actually, I'm stepping away from consulting. And I'm moving because, I'd done it. Well, I'd had my own business doing the consulting for, sort of about 6 years. And I got to the point where I just didn't love it. It wasn't what I wanted to do. And the more I stepped into coaching, the more I loved it. So, yeah, the difference between, when you're doing consulting is, also I was running social media accounts. So you're always on, and some of them I'd manage fully. So, you'd be having people messaging, and, you'd have to be doing so much, and a lot of physical contact. So a lot of it we had to be on site because you had to do work with their staff, or if they had events. Whereas coaching and mentoring, I can work online anytime, anywhere. And part of my passion was that I wanted to have a business that allowed me the freedom to work from anywhere, and be able to jump across time zones, because some clients that I worked with last year, they were in Canada. And some of the groups I'm in, they're in UK, they're all over the place. So I didn't want to be hooked into a physical location. So again, that's where stepping from consulting over, because with consulting, I work with clients around Australia, never overseas. But with coaching, I wanted to have a global impact, so I'm able to do that. So yeah, the coaching is more, that sort of bigger sort of picture, whereas the consulting was, right down there in the processes and systems. So that's sort of how I define the difference. So
yeah, it's very similar to myself, where I did in a physical bricks and mortar gym, and then as soon as the pandemic hit, I was trying to build it, but pandemic sort of skyrocketed it really to become more online. And that was the same thing. As long as I've got a laptop, internet connection, it's so much more freedom. It makes it a hell of a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you don't even need a laptop. I went to Bali just before, I was like 2019, and I worked off my phone, and I had, because back then I was still doing some consulting, and I was jumping onto, Google spreadsheets and changing things on my phone. Like, it's insane. Like, it's great in that way, because you can work from anywhere, and as I said, you've got a device that's this big that you can work from. Not great for the eyes, but at the same time, it's also, you're reachable 24/7, and you can be on 24/7. And again, coming back to what I do with my coaching is just really setting boundaries, because you can't be on your device all the time, and you've got to have boundaries. With clients, with coaching, they've got access to me via Voxer, but it's about setting that boundary that if you're going to message me at 1 o'clock in the morning, well, I'm not going to reply. I'm going to reply as soon as I'm physically able to, but you've got access to me, but I'm not going to be on all the time, because and the same for them is they need to set boundaries that they shouldn't be up working at 1 a.m. or whatever, or depends on the time zone. So that's the other thing. It's great to have that freedom and flexibility to be able to work online, but we've got to have the boundaries. For yourself, if you're working in a physical gym, when you close that door and you go home, your work needs to stay there. You don't go home and be doing everything, because it's about them being present when you get home. So, if you've got a family, then you go home and you're present with them. If you're going out with friends, you're present with them. You're not on your phone, replying to customers and posting on socials, which is where I sort of got to when I was doing consulting. It just, there was no boundaries. I was always on my phone. The kids like, you're always on the phone. I'm like, yeah, but that's what I do. I've got different clients. I've got to post at different times and things, and answering messages, and because otherwise it would be lost sales. So again, that was another reason for the lifestyle change, is because I did not want to be married to my phone, or be so reliant on my phone that and I mean, my phone is always near me. It's always in my back pocket all the time, but I'm not constantly on it. So what I think you know, we talk about moving businesses to the online space. Awesome. You know, and for businesses like yourself that were able to pivot during, you know, a pandemic, to go from a physical brick and mortar to go to online, absolutely brilliant, because people needed you at that time. You know, they needed movement, they needed the mental stimulation and everything that fitness gives them. And I'm such a big fitness believer. I move my body every day. Today is day 75 of 75 hard, and I don't know whether you or the listeners have heard about 75 hard, but it is 75 days of 2 45-minute workouts a day, one outside, a gallon of water, or almost 4 litres if you're in Australia.
Yeah.
It's 10 pages of a book every day. It is no alcohol, no cheat meals, and following a diet as such. I'm not a real believer in diet, so I just eat really healthy.
Yeah.
And taking a progress picture every day. And so I'm on day 75. Today I finished. So that is how committed I am to fitness. And I just think that when you're moving your body all the time, and, you know, I'm not doing, you know, F45 workouts. I do an hour walk with my friend in the afternoon, and I do my own workout at home. But it's just, this challenge, and because it's a mental toughness challenge, has just changed everything for me. You know, I see how much of a transition I'd had over the last 18 months with, you know, the inner work and the passion and all that. But this changed things, you know, just getting up, you know, at 5 a.m. to do a workout, and then another one at sort of, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock is a massive commitment, trying to fit that in. You know, I run a business, I've got 4 kids, life is busy in itself, you know, so being able to try and in, and, you know, I've been to events where it's been free flowing alcohol all day, and I'm like, nah, not touching a thing.
Oh, so, very committed.
And, yeah, and like the reading, like usually I would only read when I'm on holidays, and I've been reading like, you know, 10 pages of a book every day. And you know, if I do the walk on my own, then I listen to podcasts. So I've listened to so many amazing podcasts, and just that self-development with the books and the podcast, and, you know, and getting your body moving, like you can't underestimate the how powerful actually getting up and moving. And it could be just, you know, the other night I'd left my workout till late, my friend couldn't walk, it was dark, it was raining, and I thought, I'm not going to walk around the streets, but I can't fail this challenge. I was on day 73, I cannot fail. And I needed it. I felt like I needed it. So I just did laps of my backyard. And then when it started raining, I would just do some squats and different things under my pergola. Then when it sort of eased off, I'd be back out. You know, it's, yeah. So commitment to, you know, to yourself, to your body, to your mind, I think is just invaluable.
Oh, definitely. You know, I resonated with it so much that you've said already, from your introduction to right through to everything you've just said. But yeah, you know, and I think it goes hand in hand when you've got your own business. People don't tend to realize to take their health and the fitness as important as their business. It tends to be business 24/7, like you say, constantly on the phone, answering at 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock, thinking, oh, I've got to answer, I'm going to lose a sale, I'm going to lose a call. And I've been there myself. It's quite difficult for me, but I work full time. I do my online coaching now, and I've also got another business, embroidery. And I was the same. I was answering messages at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, not really sleeping, because you're sort of constantly thinking of the next thing, constantly thinking of the next, you know, what you're going to do next, what post you're going to put out across all the businesses. And yeah, fitness sort of takes a back seat then. Yeah,
and it's exhausting, right? Because a couple of years ago, I was flat out with my business. I'd be in the office at 6 a.m. I'd quickly do, be having dinner, be back in the office, or be sitting on the lounge on my phone doing stuff, and then I'd crawl into bed at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. I'd lay there for an hour, 2 hours with everything going through my head, and I wouldn't sleep properly, and I'd wake up and I'd be exhausted. And then it's that, Groundhog Day where you're doing the same thing over and over. And then I just went, well, you know what? The best thing to do is to get everything out of my head before I went to bed. So I used to have a notepad next to me, and I'd go, okay, these are the things you still got to do. These are just some different ideas I wanted to throw out there, a bit of a brain dump. And then I started to really use my Google Calendar. So I had all this Google stuff set up. I was not using the calendar. And so what I did is I went, okay, between 3 and 4 o'clock or 4 and 5, that's my walk every day. That gets blocked out in my calendar first. A day a month for me to go and do whatever I want to do. So a lot of people call it a CEO day or a mindset day or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
A day to sit on the couch all day and watch Netflix or go shopping, whatever you think. Have a day a month that you have to yourself. You could just go and lie on the beach all day. And then, different family events are going there. I'd have dropping my kids to work or picking them up. It depends on which kids and what age they are. And then catching up with friends. So like on a Tuesday night, I might catch up with a friend, or a Saturday over, and that goes in there. So I've got all my personal commitments in there. My exercises in there. I've got then I do all my family, and then I do all my work commitments. And that's how I do my calendar. I use all of the tasks and reminders. So when I go to bed now, I don't actually use that notepad anymore. Nothing's in my head. I'm not laying there for hours. And I'm a Gemini, so I'm always doing a million things at once and always on the go. So this has been a massive transition for me over the last 18 months to go, you know what, get it all out of here and get it into your Google Calendar.
Yeah. And,
I'm very strict with morning and evening routines now, so that, I've got this health thing that's been on my phone. I've had an iPhone for who knows how long. And there's this health app on there that comes on at 5 a.m. and does a beautiful music to wake you up. Yeah. So that's when my workout is. I'll have, it comes on at 9:45. Then I've got it at 10 o'clock. It depends when you want to go to bed. I used to have it at 9. I think now I've got it at 10. So it comes on 15 minutes before bedtime and says, okay, it's almost bedtime now. It's time to wind down. So 15 minutes before I want to go to bed. So then, go and do whatever I do for my nighttime routine. And then you sort of got, you've got that 15 minutes then to start to really, shut down and, whatever you want to do, whether it's, a meditation or read some pages of a book or, something that's not on your phone. So, I used to get in bed and play games for a bit, and then, you're still bright before you go into bed. So just having that good morning and evening routine as well. But we're just really setting up your calendar as well. There's some great tips that I had around, making sure that I'm not going to bed and having a million things going on in my mind, which is what you said, and just having those routines. And then, with my diary starting to really time block. So I'd go, okay, well, in the morning, I'm best to do all my, creating, and that's where all my money making stuff is. And then, and then at lunchtime, I used to always eat lunch at my desk. Now I don't. I work from home, so I'll go and sit downstairs or go and sit out by the pool. Same with my coffee. I used to come and have my coffee, my 10 o'clock coffee and my morning tea sitting by my desk. I sit at the kitchen table now because you need that break.
Yeah.
And going back to the calendar, so blocking the time out, and even when I was doing consulting, I would block out, I'm doing all the stuff for this client this day, or that client there, and then that client there. So I'm not, because what I found was I was doing this client, because I had about 10 clients going. I'd jump to this one, then I'd jump over there. And so I've just found that I was constantly jumping everywhere. I was only really probably working at 50% because I was jumping in and out of everything. And every time you jump in and out of something, your mind then has to shift to what you're working in. So you're exhausting yourself. So that's how I become so burnt out. Whereas now it's, okay, if I'm working on this in my business, then my attention is focused on that, because I'm very easily distracted. Don't get me wrong. It sounds like I'm really clear in that. I mean, I'm clear, but I do get really distracted. So sometimes I'll set a timer and it's like, right, I've got to do this task and I can't do anything. If my phone rings, it's like, unless it's urgent, I need to focus on this because I get easily distracted. So if you're sort of along the lines, if you're out there listening going, oh my God, that is me, I get so easily distracted. Set a timer, or, shut all your notifications off and shut the door so that, people aren't distracting you, and, shut your emails down, which is what I do, so that you can, get the task done. So I find that if you're jumping from task to task, because you then need to reset every time you do that. So the calendar blocking helps, and, being present. So if I'm with a client or doing a coaching call, I'm 100% present. If I'm sitting on the lounge with my husband at night time, I'm 100% present. If I'm out doing shopping with my daughter, I'm present, because again, as we said, we're so busy and you've got so much on, yourself, you've got a full-time job, you've got your fitness, you've got another side business, and that's a lot. And if we're not quite present, then you're not really going to be creating great memories. You're not going to be really taking it in, and you're not going to be sort of fulfilled. So that sort of was a big part for me last year, going, I want to be present what I'm doing. So when I'm in my office, I'm in my office, and my kids know that my door's shut, then it's work time. If I'm out of my office and I'm doing stuff with my family, well then if something happens with work, well, it can wait, and I can relate when you're saying, you've got, messages coming up on Facebook or Instagram, or you've got, an email come through, and there's that temptation to go, oh, so, I've turned all notifications off on my phone for that, because you see, oh, what is it? And you have to open it. And it's, you just can't help it. Yeah. And it's just unhealthy. And so for me, it's like, okay, well, I check my emails this time in the morning, this time, at lunchtime, and then again in the afternoon, 3 times a day, because otherwise I'd have my inboxes open, and I've got about 3 or 4 inboxes because I've got different accounts. And I'd see something and I'd go, oh, yeah, okay, I'll just quickly respond to that. And then something else, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just quickly do that. And then I'd get to 1 o'clock and I'd actually done nothing.
Yeah, you're getting that Facebook video loop then.
Yeah, you start watching a video on something, and then a cat video comes up, and a funny dog one, and then some, music thing comes on, and it's like, you get to 1 o'clock and you're like, oh, where's the day gone? What did I do? It's like nothing. Yeah. Or, I went through a stage where I'd download this freebie and I'd sign up to that webinar, and I'd be on this Facebook Live, and I'd be doing all that in the morning, and I'd be so busy consuming. And then I'd get to lunchtime and go, oh, I better do some work now. And then I'd try and create in the afternoon when you're starting to, your energy starts to drop down. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I've got to flip this. And I've got to do my creative money-making stuff in the day, or like first thing in those couple of hours, and then move to, sort of client work. And then all your stuff where your attention span starts to wane, or your energy starts to wane, you do that in the afternoon. And I find that, doing a walk at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, that's when you get to that point where, you're reaching for a wine, or you're reaching for chocolate. Not that I have over the last, 87 days, because I started sober September, for 12 days before this challenge. So it's been 87 days since I've drank and had chocolate, and I have dark chocolate every day. So it's a massive thing for me. I think giving up the chocolate was harder than the alcohol, actually.
Yeah. I'm the same.
Yeah. And, so we hit that slump, everyone hits that slump around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where they're starting to get distracted. They're getting agitated or fidgety, and we need to sort of that kick in. And so what I find is, well, that's when I do my walk with my friend, and then I come back and I can smash out another hour of work. So it's just when when you're high on energy, and you've got clarity and you focus, do that work that might be a bit more intense, or that you really need for the concentration. And then some people might be better in the afternoon, and they're not so great in the morning. So then do your fuzzy stuff in the morning, and do your really focus sort of tasks in the afternoon. So that's the other sort of thing that I do to sort of manage my time, is to work out, okay, when am I best suited to work on that task, or when am I best suited to do that kind of coaching, and don't, because someone else might be talking about their morning routine, or when they do certain things, but you know what, you've got to do what works for you. It's the same as when we're talking about different strategies that we're using, or different exercises or different modalities. People talk about crystals and journaling and all sorts of stuff, and you've got to, honestly, you can go and watch what everyone else is doing. You can see what someone in the same industry, or a competitor of yours, or someone that you aspire to does, and you can watch what they do, and you can take it all in and absolutely try everything, but just do what works for you. And everyone's unique, and it doesn't matter what kind of business you do, what kind of industry you are in. Everyone is at different stages, and the training you've had is different to the training of the person that has the gym next to you. And people will come to you because they connect or relate to you, or are drawn to your energy, and the people that go to them for the same reasons. And we're so busy trying to watch what other people are doing and try and emulate it all, then we get stuck in the opposite, which is that imposter syndrome, where we go, oh, they're doing that, and I've been doing this, and how come I've not got that many followers, or how come I've not got that many clients, or how come I'm not that successful, or I haven't got a book? And it's like, you just do you. And I think that's the thing, like, we're trying to do all the things, coming back to all the different facets of business, is that we try and do all the things and do what everyone else is doing, and you might see what they're doing, but you don't see what's going on behind. It's like the you know, the ducks and that you can see them on top of the water going like this, but underneath they're like this, you know. You don't know, they could have one person behind them helping them, they could have 10 people behind them. You don't know how their business is structured, you don't know how they work, you don't know what kind of experiences and education and training all that they've had compared to you. You can only see what's on the surface. And the same thing is, you know, they could have had, you know, 20 years behind them and they've had so many failures to get to where they are. And, you know, you might, you know, you could be just starting out and you're trying to compare yourself, you know, your page 1 or your chapter 1 to their chapter 10 or chapter 20, you know. And we've all got something unique to offer. And, you know, and like in the coaching space where I'm, and you'll find the same with the fitness space and coaching around fitness, it's a very saturated market. And we sort of think, well, or can I do it? Yes, you can, because you are you and you've got so much to bring, because no one else has your experience, no one has your mindset, no one has your energy, no one can bring all the different things that have made you who you are today. No one has that. So there is a spot in whatever industry or field or whatever market you want to play in for you. You've just got to find whatever your uniqueness is, get your messaging right, and just show up. You know, just be out there every day going, hey, you know, this is what I'm doing, this is who I'm working with, this is the results they're getting, this is how you can work with me. And that's what you can do. You know, we focus so much on what everyone else is doing and what money they're making, the 5-6 figures and all the followers they've got. You know, you can make more on 300 followers than you can on 30,000 followers, because if you've got followers that aren't your ideal audience, that aren't connecting with you and aren't going to buy, what's the point of having them all? So I just think it's really looking at where you're focusing. And again, you know, those conversations you're having in your head, you don't have to say, you know, it doesn't matter about whether you're good enough, whether you've got enough experience, whether you've got enough education, all that sort of stuff. Just turn up and be authentically you. Believe in yourself, and then, you know, and bring the energy and be consistent, and then people will come. So
yeah, definitely.
I work with them anyway.
No, I think a lot of my friends are all business owners, so I think they'll appreciate everything you've just said. Again, they'll resonate with 90% of them. And yeah, just go back to what you were saying about your diary and stuff. On the app now, I've noticed there's a new focus button.
Yes.
And it automatically comes up now. So I've just pressed that for this now, so it doesn't go off. It's not going off. But like with technology going so far now, you know, you've got so many distractions. But things like that then is obviously keeping up with the development of the technology these days.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about, you know, we're so ingrained in technology, but we're not using it for some of the good. So as you said, that focus app, yes, that's new. It's new with the iPhone. I'm not quite sure about Android, but that is linked to the health app. So the health app that I do, and I used to always, you know, swipe mine up and put on do not disturb anyway a lot of the time when I was trying to focus. And that's sort of linked to the health app that's on the iPhone, where you can go in and put the time you want to wake up, and then what hours sleep you want. So it'll work out your wake time and sleep time on that. And, you know, in there you can track your walking and do all that sort of stuff. So I just think the key is, you know, making sure you're getting enough sleep for you. And, you know, for someone, they could be happy on 5 hours sleep. Someone might need 10. I think it's about, you know, really listening to your body. So getting as much sleep that your body needs, that you're not going to be, you know, ripping someone's head off when you're talking to them early in the morning. And, you know, like drinking lots of water and, you know, eating, you know, from a fitness point of view, you know, this is something that you'd be talking to all of your clients about, is that hydration's huge, sleep is huge. You know, fueling your body with, you know, as much fruit and veggies and healthy food and not non-processed food is, you know, is the key. Again, with movement, that if you are energized, you know, you've got great nutrition, you're hydrated, and you're working on the mindset, you're going to succeed at anything. You know, all the strategy and all that sort of stuff is just going to, you know, that's just going to work, because if you're that focused and you're committed and you're consistent and you're energized and, you know, you've got all that clarity, all that, doesn't matter what you put your mind to, like this, this 75 hard challenge, I have just been so strict with it, and I have not deviated at all. And I've gone, wow, if I can do that in 75 days, and I can see the impact it's had on my family, my friends, the impact it's had on my business, my mental state now is unbelievable. Like my mindset, if something's not aligned to me now, I'm like, no, sorry. And if someone starts to talk negatively, and I'm like, no, what? Let's change the subject, because it's like, no, I don't need that. I just want that positive. So yeah, anyway, so getting back to, we're talking about the calendar, that's right. So yeah, you've got all these tools and apps, we've got all these apps on our phones, and we're so quick to jump onto Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, all the stuff. But there's some amazing apps on there, podcasts. I wasn't really into podcasts. I didn't want to start a podcast. A couple of people kept saying, you should start a podcast because, you've got so much to share. And I was having great conversations with women, in my own world, but I just wanted to share that. And when I get really passionate and energized, I start to talk really fast. And my dad always said, you'll never be on radio or TV or anything, you just talk too fast. And then I went, you know what, I'm going to start this podcast. So in March this year, I started my podcast, the Sharon Cliffe podcast, and it's been fantastic, and I love it. And I just went, why didn't I start this before? Yeah. And because I've been able to connect with, I've had men and women on my podcast. Even though I predominantly work with female entrepreneurs, I do work with men as well. And as long as someone has got, some sort of tip, or got an amazing story to share, or a great message, that's going to help a female entrepreneur out there, then they're welcome to come on, because I think the more of us that can share our story and our message and our passion and our vision, and if, it could be one little word that you say that just clicks with someone and they resonate, and it helps them to change their life. Could be in a small way, but anything we can do to connect and make an impact with someone else is just, amazing. And I think, using your phone, again, coming back to it for good, is, podcasts have been fantastic for me. I didn't really use my podcast app, but, now because I'm a podcaster, I'm now religiously just listening to different podcasts. I listen to them sort of here and there. Now I'm listening to, 3 or 4 a week. So podcast is great. There's so many workout apps on there that, to get your body moving, and a lot of them are free. And if you don't want to sign up to an app, because the big fitness ones, they can be $20 a month. And if you don't want to do that, go onto YouTube. There's heaps of Instagrammers. Even Kayla Itseens, who has her paid workout app, she does heaps of Instagram workouts as well. So if moving your body doesn't have to actually cost anything, you can use Instagram for good. So use Instagram for getting recipes, for getting inspiration. There's lots of motivational quotes, using it for exercise. So, yes, okay, we've got social media for business and we've got it for personal, and we all get stuck into the scroll, but try and use your social media for good. So, following people that are going to give you great recipes, going to give you some great nutrition advice, talk to you about exercise, watch your exercise videos, meditation apps, there's yoga and things like that you can do if you're not comfortable going to a class, or, could be someone here that, like yourself, works full time and then has a business as well that might not have time to go to a gym, or might, young mum at home might not be able to physically get out because she's got kids and she's trying to sort of juggle. So being able to, think, oh, I can't do a workout or I can't do yoga. Yes, you can, because it's on your phone, And then, using some of the other apps to, cut out notifications so that you're not online all the time. The scariest thing Apple ever did was bring up that thing that says, oh, you've been on Facebook for 45 minutes today, or you've been on Instagram for 3 hours. And it's like, ew. But it really showed people that time really can slip when you start to get on and scroll. So, just really limiting, looking at, okay, well, if I'm going to jump onto Instagram and, check a few things, just be mindful of the time as well, because we don't want to get stuck just, on the screen all the time. So that's the other thing too. Like, there's some great apps on there, and, there's obviously a lot of programs on your desktop as well, but in saying, use social media for that, but also use it for, exercise and nutrition, but at the same time, I don't want you to be tied to your phone, because we do need to have a break. So it's
definitely.
About using everything in moderation, I think. The same with food. It's if you're going to eat, chocolate cake in moderation. If you're going to go out and have cocktails, just have a couple.
Oh, definitely. And it's all like when you're saying getting tired and fatigued further into the day. Again, it goes back to people just not understanding how good nutrition is going to benefit their business, how well how effective they are and working in their business or on their business. And again, like you say, you're getting fatigued throughout the day. I found it doesn't matter what type of carbs I was having. If I was having carbs for lunch or in the day, I find hour and 30 minutes later, I'm so heavy, lethargic. So that's one thing that worked for me, is reducing my carbs throughout the day and then having the bulk of my carbs in the evening.
Yeah.
And that worked wonders for me. But then again, like getting in from full-time work, trying to do some coaching online, trying to work on loads of different things at the same time, it just drains your energy. So nutrition for me has been one of the biggest things, especially throughout the lockdown. And another thing is people are reluctant to get their own coaches. I know personal trainers are as a personal trainer. Well, I'm qualified and I don't need a coach in that.
Yeah.
But I found I'm on the Peloton on the treadmill, and I found that is absolutely amazing. And I'll sell that to potential clients, non-clients, anyone that's interested. It's been well worth the money. But that's one thing I would say.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that the Pelotons are amazing. So
yeah, this and I believe they've got a robot out now, or bringing a robot out. But I got the treadmill. I was going to get the bike. I think I'll get the bike next. But yeah, it's fantastic. I due to lockdowns and the gyms closing and everything, I had a bit of time off to recuperate, and then I started feeling a bit rubbish. So I thought, right, I got to do something. I can't just go down because I've got 2 young girls myself, and trying to do exercise in the house was a nightmare. So I bought the
Get the kids
Peloton.
involved. Put the music on and get them to dance around. And
yeah,
a couple of days in my challenge, my kids have come and joined a couple of times, and picked up a couple of weights, and they've lasted like 5 minutes. Mind you, my kids are one's 21 next week, one's 18, and the youngest two are 15 because they're twins. But sometimes they'll come in and they might do a workout with me or come for a walk, and the dog often comes and sits in and just sits in the mat in the middle in the way. But get the family. That's the other thing too. Get the family involved as well. I'm such a big believer in getting the family involved. My husband's now walking every morning at 5 a.m. I don't go with him in the morning because he reckons I'm too slow, even though I actually walk really fast. But he likes to listen to the radio station that's all sort of talk back, so he does that, and I like to listen to my podcast. So sometimes we'll go for a walk together, but generally I do my home workout in the morning and my walk in the afternoon. But with families, like I hear mums go, I don't have time. Like, get the kids involved. You know what? Just go in the lounge room, put the music on.
Yeah.
You can do a bit of a workout, and the kids can dance and muck around. Like, that's, your workout, but also you're spending time with the kids, and you're also getting your kids moving. The same with the kitchen. My kids all cook. Even like my 15-year-old boys, one does cooking at school, and he also works at a butcher. So at the butcher's, he's preparing a lot of meats and doing seasoning and making, crumbing the meat and all that sort of stuff. And so, I'll get them involved as well. I'm like, okay, well, because that's the other big thing is we meal plan. So, on a Monday, I go, okay, what are we going to have for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? And then we'll go, what are we going to have Thursday, Friday? And we've got a board on the side of the fridge. So we write down what we're going to have. It means that we're organised. So when I go shopping, I'm just buying that. I'm not getting distracted buying rubbish, because I know exactly what I've got to buy. So I have a shopping list. Again, I've got just the notes on my phone where it's got the checklist. So I'll put, apples, whatever it is that I need to buy, milk, whatever. And then I tick it. So I'm not having to get to shops and go, what have I got to buy? And then impulse buy it, which you start to put rubbish in your trolley, and then you end up with food, and you also end up with food that you don't need or don't use and throw out. Or you just start to buy rubbish. So, and if you're running to the shops every day, you're always going to come home with more or stuff that you don't need. So by meal planning as well and writing that on there, we're organised, we're saving money, we're saving time, because I'm not getting to 4 o'clock and going, oh, what's for dinner? By having it written on the board, I'm not having 5 other people in the household come to me and going, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? So yeah, so planning that out as well, and then getting portion sizes was a big thing for us. So rather than have this massive thing of meat and all these different veggies, I actually changed our dinner plates to a smaller size down. And I've got, well, last year my 15-year-olds were, for the last 3 years they've been playing Premier League soccer. So like training 3 nights a week, playing a game for an hour plus training for an hour before it. And then my son does a physical job, and so they're all big eaters. So just making sure that they're loading up, on the meat that they need, but having lots of veggies. And then for me, cutting my meat portions down to small, only having small amounts of, pasta and rice, but filling up on a lot of veggies and salads. So that's the other thing too, like planning your meals, portion control, making sure you've got as much fruit and veg, and, having the meat, or if you don't eat meat, making sure you're getting the nutrition in whatever way. So that's another big thing I found with my planning, was to know that, planning out the meals as well, and snacks as well, because, in the afternoon you're like, oh, I'll just have a packet of chips, and I'll just have that chocolate, and, and you can even buy muesli bars, and then you get them home and you read the back of the packet and it's mainly sugar and processed stuff. It's like, oh, I thought this was healthy.
Yeah, liquid calories as well.
Yeah, that's right. And I sort of switched from having, like champagne to going, well, I'll have, vodka, lime and soda, because it's a wedge of lime. It's not lime juice. Yeah. Soda water, I can make it on my soda stream, and they're not going to have the calories that, having champagne or fancy cocktails or pre-mixed mixes. So it's about making small changes. So, getting your family involved in your exercise, the meal planning, watching your portions, and just sort of switching, like in the afternoon I'd be like, oh, I'm feeling really low, I might have a chocolate. So now I'll go and have a couple of strawberries or some blueberries, or, just switching what you're doing, so then you're not craving it. And the same thing, just small changes with exercise. If you think, I don't have time for an hour walk or a 40-minute walk or a 15-minute walk, just get up and walk outside for 5 minutes. Even just go and stand on the grass with bare feet, and just, stand there for 5 minutes and just look up at the sky. And if it's not sunny, it doesn't matter, just to get out there and get the fresh air and feel the nature on your feet. Honestly, if you don't have, half an hour or an hour, 5 minutes out there will absolutely re-energize you. Grab a glass of water and then come back. So if I find that I'm starting to get distracted, or I'm like going, or, the page starts to get blurry, or I start to wonder, or I start to get, a bit stiff, or I'm leaning forward in my chair, I'm like, okay, I need to take a break, because you think, I don't have the time for a break. But if you stay there and power on, you go from 100% capacity to 90 to 80 to 70 to 60. And you think you don't have the time, but if you stop at that 60% mark and go and have a 5-minute break, have a glass of water, turn the music on and jump around for 5 minutes, and, or I might go and make a cup of coffee and have the music on in the kitchen and, dance around or sing or whatever, my poor neighbours, but, do that for 5 minutes, go outside, drink my coffee outside and come back. You know what? I'm back to 80 or 100%.
Yeah. So
I'm actually going to work better. So that 5 or 10 minutes or even 15 minutes is going to bring my, so if I'm going to work for the next couple of hours at 60%, don't you think you're better off to go and have a 10, 15-minute break and come back to 100%? So that's where those small mindset shifts can really help. So they're all they're my tips. That's what I work with my clients on. And it's just all the stuff that to me seems obvious, and whilst it's only been obvious that the last sort of 2 years, they're the sorts of things that people go, oh yeah, and as you said, you've been resonating with it, and lots of people in your audience listening to this will also resonate with it. But unless you really put your attention to it and start to work out, what's zapping your energy, what's energizing you, and start to think about all those things that I've mentioned all the way through, you just still get into the hustle and grind unless you start to actually practice those habits. And it's, you start to put a couple of habits in each day, and every day you do it, it then becomes more routine, and then it becomes natural. Like my 75 Hard, there's an app where you've got to tick off your water, tick off your reading, tick off your workout, second workout. Well, I mean, I go and tick it off, but I don't have to think about it anymore because it's a habit. It's just what I do. It's ingrained. And that's the thing, and that's what you want to do. You want to have it so that, you know, you just get up, you move in your body, you know, all the things that I've just spoke about, they just become part of your morning routine or afternoon routine, or become part of your habit and become part of your boundaries, so that you then just live your life like that. And I mean, it's not perfect and things will change. There'll be things that, you know, that I'm doing now that, you know, in a month or 6 months time, I go, well, you know what, that's not serving me anymore. It's not energizing me, or it's not really adding value to what I'm doing. So I'll move that out and I might bring something else in. You know, I did a funny reel this week where I was talking about, you know, everyone talks about, you know, crystals and sage spray and saging, journaling and candles and all these different stuff. Like, there's so many modalities out there. And look, I use quite a few. You know, I've got crystals, and, you know, I do affirmation cards on a Monday. I have daily mantras that I look at just to really set the tone for my day. And we get so overwhelmed because there's so many different things that we could be doing, and, you know, do this and this next influencers doing this, and it's like, it's fantastic, right? But you don't need to do everything. If meditation works for you, do it. If you don't like journaling, don't do it. If it doesn't work for you, then don't do it. You know, I'm the biggest advocate for trying everything, and the things that don't work, well, then move it on and keep the things that work. And sometimes, you know, journaling, like with, you know, journaling in particular, I was part of a mastermind and I got a journal, and I was like, and they gave me some journal prompts, and I started to do it, and I sort of did it, you know, every day for a couple of weeks, and then I wouldn't touch it, and then I'd jump back in for a couple of days, and then I haven't touched it for months. Well, then this week I've been journaling every day. And I think you've got to do what works for you. So, you know, if you decide you want to journal every day and that works, then do it. If you decide that you want to do it once a month, do it. Just because someone else says, you know, oh, I'm doing this every day and I can write 10 pages, and you just got to do what feels comfortable and what you feel is working. Like, if you're just sitting there with a journal just writing out and it's not doing a thing for you, then you're just wasting your time. Find something that works. You know, it's the same with, you know, with nutrition and diet. I don't like to use the word diet, but I'm more healthy eating. But someone might be on a keto diet, someone might be on a plant-based diet, and it might be awesome for them and working. But if you try it and it doesn't work, then stop. You know, and it's the same, you know, if someone's running and they're loving it and they're talking all about it, but you don't like running, well, then don't do it. You know, it's the same with whatever strategy. Like, we're coming back to all the platforms and being online all the time, is that you see someone that's on, you know, Instagram, and they're doing live and doing reels, and then someone else is sitting there going, oh, but I don't really want to show up on camera. I don't want to do videos. Yeah. Or, you know, I love LinkedIn and doing posts, but I don't love Instagram. So don't do Instagram. You don't have to be on every platform. Again, it comes back to you showing up authentically and doing what's right for you and what feels right. And that's the biggest thing. What feels right for you? Yeah. Does eating that food feel right for you? Does doing that kind of workout feel right for you? Does journaling feel right for you? Does showing up on camera feel right for you? And everyone's talking about, you know, videos is a thing. Everyone's got to be doing videos. If you're not comfortable doing a video, don't do it. If you're more comfortable writing, write a blog, write a long post, write emails. If you're comfortable on video, do videos, do reels, do YouTubes, do lives. Do what works for you, because I've got, you know, some clients I work with, they've got, you know, $300,000 businesses, $400,000 businesses, like they turn over a year. They're not on Instagram at all. They're not on Facebook at all. They don't post anything on LinkedIn. Yeah. So, you know, and you hear about these businesses going, oh, you've got to do everything on LinkedIn and everything on Instagram. You've got to have this hashtag and you've got to post at this time of day and all that. It's rubbish. If you are turning up on whatever platform, I mean, so obviously you've got to be where your customers are. And it could be, you know, for you, it could be just bricks and mortar, that you're showing up in that gym, you know, you're working with them, they can see that you're passionate, they can see that the program you're teaching them is working for them, you know, you're giving them that transformation, you're giving them hope, you're giving them motivation, then you don't need to be on Instagram doing that. You know, you've got to do, again, coming back to not doing what everyone else is doing, staying away from that imposter syndrome, just authentically showing up, and that will draw people to it. You know, you don't have to be, we talk about with the phone, be on every platform. You don't have to be on every platform. You could be on there as a consumer, but you don't have to be able to create on every platform. And again, before, when we were talking about time management and batching, it's the same with social media. You know, if you do, like, for instance, you're doing this podcast now, so you can put this on your podcast platform. You could recreate this and put it on your YouTube channel. You could snip part of this and do it as a Facebook. You put it on Facebook. You could trim this and do it as an IGTV. You could also, you know, get this transcripted out and do it as a blog. You could do snippets of it as an email. You can pull lots of different components of this and have them as social media posts.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use this, you know, this interview, you could use this in, you know, 100 different posts over the next, you know, 6 months, because you can pull out little parts of our conversation. So people think, you know, I've got to create all this stuff, and they get overwhelmed and burn out and go, oh, I've got to create all these posts. It's all about repurposing and taking lots of different snippets. You could probably do 10 emails out of this. You could probably do, you know, a stack of different social media posts. You can pull out all different things, you know. So that's the other thing, you know, just being really smart about what you're doing and how you're doing it as well is a massive tip. You know, you don't have to go back and recreate. And, you know, content that you posted 6 months ago or 12 months ago, people aren't really going to remember it. Yeah. And, you know, we've got to, like, with how everything works, you know, people have got to take in things, you know, 7 to 10 times before you're actually really taking it in. So if you shared a post a month ago and you got great engagement, share it again. Yeah. Or just share it in a slightly different way. You know, if you did it in a long form post, maybe you could do a quick video on it, or maybe you could just tweak a couple of things. People aren't going to remember what you did 6 months ago. So you can repost content and, you know, just drop it in as well. So that's the thing, you know, if you're not well and something's happened, or you're traveling, or you just ran out of time, or you've got a big project on or something, or you just don't feel like creating content, go back and repurpose some old stuff. We don't have to keep reinventing the wheel all the time. Or, you know, you can share, like we're all sharing other people's quotes and all that sort of stuff. If you find, you know, someone has some great content and it's really valuable and it resonates, and you think that your audience can also, you know, resonate and get value, share it. You know, like I was on a Zoom yesterday with another coach who's also in Brisbane, who you could probably say is, you know, in competition. I jumped on her Zoom session that she had yesterday, and I was like, this is amazing. And I shared it across my social media, and then she posted about, and I commented on it, this is amazing. Like, you guys need to jump on board. It's like, it's about, it was great content. She had great messaging, and it was like so much value. And it was a free thing. And I just went, you need to pay, you need to get this as a paid program. So just empowering other women, you know, that's the big thing for me, like empowering and supporting. And like, why are you posting like people that would be potentially a competitor? I'm like, yeah, but she's different. She's teaching slightly different stuff. She's got her own, you know, messages, and everything she does is different to what I'm doing. There's enough space for everyone, you know. When it's about, if we support each other and lift each other up and go, wow, you know, Christine, that was fantastic what you did. Isn't that better than going, you know, and you know, knocking her down and trying to beat her? It's not a competition. For me, it's about collaboration. And that, you know, that's another point, that collab with other businesses as well. I've got lots of other coaches that I collaborate with. So, you know, if there's someone that's in a similar space that has a slightly different audience, or you can partner up. So I've got a passion test event that I've got in a couple of weeks with 2 coaches from Canada. And with the 3 of us are getting together, like we're all passion test facilitators, but we've all got something different to bring to it. So we're collaborating. So, okay, so, you know, we're trained in the same thing, but we're all coming from a different point of view, a different mindset, and different education, different experience. So we've all got something to add. So that's the other thing, you know, if you find that you need to get your business to the next level, you need to broaden your audience, who can you collab with? You know, with being in the gym, there could be a line of, you know, clothing that you could partner with to say, well, you know, you can sell your products in my gym, or, you know, they can talk about your exercise programs, or, you know, because you've got your online, maybe they could talk about, you know, yours, or show, you know, people in your gym or you working out in their clothes. You know, there's lots of different collaborations as well. So be open to that, because that can help you. If you're working with someone else, you can bounce ideas off each other. You'll also learn so much from the experience. And, you know, you're also opening your audience up to a whole range of people, you know, even just collabing with, you know, sending out emails, say, hey, you know, if you want to sign up, you know, for Mike's program, here's a discount code you can use to go and sign up. Or, you know, even with podcasts is amazing too, you know, like obviously I will share this with my audience. So they'll get to find out about you. You share this with your audience. They get to find out about me.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So it's not only, the conversation about, sharing our stories and sharing experiences and all the different things that I've done. It's then, if that helps someone and it resonates with them, well, then they go and talk to someone else and you can help them. And for me, it's all about that impact. And I want to impact as many people as I can to get them more energy, get them happier, living a life they love, working towards their passion, get out of the hustle and grind, and just be really present with what they're doing. Because, so we go to a concert or we go to something and we're holding our phones up and we're looking through the phone video. Okay, do a quick video, then stop and actually enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy whatever we're there. Yeah. So again, coming back to that, being present and in the moment, because I think we lose so much because we are so connected with our phones or connected with, sort of what's going on. It's like, hang on a minute, just come back and be present. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So have you found now that though you've gone so long without alcohol and working out twice a day, do you find that now if you don't train for twice a day now, if you miss it for whatever reason, obviously you haven't for the last 75, do you feel like now if you miss a workout that you're going to be craving and thinking, oh, I need to get that second one, I need to get that second workout in?
For sure. So the early morning workouts I absolutely love, because the walk I did every day anyway. But my friend and I have been walking for about 5-6 years most days. And like if I'm away or she's away, I will still walk. She doesn't. She's good up there. There's no motivation. I'm like, yeah, but that's the whole thing. So I crave that afternoon. Like if I get to the afternoon and I haven't done that walk, I just will go even for a 15-minute just to get it out there. But I will be keeping the 2 workouts because I've loved it. Getting up at 5 a.m. I mean, I was always up at sort of 6 o'clock, 6:30 anyway. But I used to lay in bed on my phone doing stuff. So now I don't do that. I get up, I do my workout, I have my breakfast, then I go and get ready for the day and then jump in my office. And I found that it was a massive shift because I would lay in my bed and I'll just jump on and have a look at my emails and jump on and look at socials, and an hour later I'm still laying there, and then you're drained because you've already been focusing on the screen. So I now try not to do anything on there. I mean, it's different at the moment because with the challenge you've got to I'm posting and ticking off things like first thing when I've done my workout and weighing myself and all that sort of stuff. But I'm only doing it for that and then jumping straight into my workout. So I'm going to keep the 2 workouts. Winter could be a bit different, but then in Queensland we don't have a real winter. It's quite mild. So it'll be darker, but I mean I do the workout inside of my lounge gym, so I will keep that. I might just drop it back a bit later, but I'll definitely keep the 2 workouts. The water, I always drank that much water anyway. I didn't realise until I started measuring it. The healthy food, now, like if I go to have a bigger meal, I physically can't have it now because I've lost 10.3 kilos, which is massive, right? Especially like I'm 46, like I'm not going to hide my age. I've had 4 kids. So it's hard. Like I generally eat pretty good anyway. And as I said, I walk every day. And it was hard just to shift. I wanted to get to a certain weight, and I've absolutely smashed it. But it's, someone at my age, as a female, it's hard to lose weight. My husband can drop 10 kilos like that. And he's still drinking and eating stuff, and he's lost weight as well. But he's not been doing the challenge. But
I'm celebrating your 75 days with a whiskey.
So it's hard. So I'm going to be very conscious still of what I'm eating. I'll probably add a few things in over the weekend, but through the week, Monday to Thursday, I'm going to be strict on it. No alcohol still that Monday to Thursday. I'll just add a couple of gin or vodkas in over the weekend, like only, 2, maybe 2 or 3, and that's it, because I don't feel like it. I'm not in the habit, and that habit, the biggest habit I broke was having chocolate every night. And I only have dark chocolate, and I only have a piece, a square. And that was the hardest habit to keep because that was my thing at night time. I'd just sit there and have that piece of chocolate. And for the first 8 weeks, I didn't have any chocolate. Then I brought in a couple of, like the fancy, no sugar, all that plant-based sort of chocolate, which was really expensive. And then I went, you know what? I'm not enjoying it and I don't miss it. So I only bought 1 bar and then that was it. So it's just really, I want to keep the momentum. I'll probably put a couple of kilos back on, but I don't want to go back to where I was. So, because, the physical transformation, I bumped into a couple of people yesterday. They went, oh my goodness, you look amazing. Like you're half the person. I mean, I wasn't big anyway. Like I was 68 kilos. I don't know what that, I think you guys do pounds, or what that is in pounds, but you know, and now I'm 58. I was 68.4 and now I'm 58 on the dot.
Well done.
So yeah, so 10 kilos. I don't know what's that in pounds.
14 pounds a kilo.
Yeah.
My maths is shocking.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just think I've worked so hard to get to this, and it was all about, you know, again, it's a mental toughness challenge, so it's not about the diet. It was just really healthy eating, and you know, taking the alcohol out, which I'm sure would have added a bit, but you know, I wasn't, you know, like if you're drinking beer, you know, that's obviously going to take a lot off, but I don't drink beer anyway. But yeah, the workouts, I think the morning workout's been a game changer, just getting up and having that discipline, and I've absolutely loved it. And a couple of times, you know, I got bored with the workouts, so then I, you know, bought a program where it was, you know, 4 weeks of videos, and they were just YouTube videos, so I could just set the link up on my phone and watch them. And then so I did that for 4 weeks. I'm like, okay, I'm over that now, what's next? And then I started to watch a couple of Instagram, like just on people's feeds, watching their, I was sort of focused on ads, like watching their workouts. And then I went, okay, well, you know what? I enjoy doing this, and this exercise, and I'm just going to stick to that. So that's what I've been doing for the last few weeks. I don't like doing burpees, so I don't do them. So again, it's the same thing with what we spoke about, business and all that sort of stuff. I don't like doing burpees, so I'm not going to do them. I'm happy to do planks. So again, it's finding the exercise that works for you. So, you know, if I'm watching a video and they do something that I don't want to do, or it, you know, hurts my back or something, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'll find something similar, or I'll do a different version. So one of the workouts I was doing, they had 3 girls, and one would do weights, one would do it with bands, and one would do a lighter workout. So you could go, okay, well, which one, you know, would I rather do? So you don't have to do that one that they're doing. You can do whatever suits you. So I think that's a great lesson across any part of your life. You know, like, you know, if someone's doing that diet, or you're doing that diet, but that part of it doesn't work for you, then don't do that. Substitute with something else. You know, the same, you know, when I talk about business and I talk about different strategies, if that is not part of your strategy, then don't do it. If you don't like video, don't do it. Don't do something because someone else is doing it. Do what works for you, because if you're not authentic in it and it doesn't feel comfortable for you, and I know I kept talking about this feeling, if it doesn't feel right for you, or it doesn't feel comfortable, then don't do it, because you're just going to hate it. It's not going to work. People are going to connect that you're not feeling it. So I think that's the biggest thing, you know, to show up consistently and authentically, and just do what feels right. Like, they're the biggest lessons in anything. Do what feels right, what feels connected, what feels aligned, what feels in flow, and what feels authentically you. And you know what? When you focus on all that, everything will work and start to shift. All of your relationships will be great. Your life will be great. You'll be energized. Everything you do in your business will feel so much easier and in flow. And you'll attract the people that are ideal, that want to work with you, and that are easy to work with. Because if you're working with people that really drain you and that frustrate you, and I know sometimes you want the money, and that was the hardest thing for me, transitioning from consulting to coaching. It's like, but I've got the money there and I've got that client. But every time I saw a message come through, or a phone call, but oh no, they're ringing me again. Or no, I've got to do that work. And I didn't want to do it, and it drained me. And as soon as I went, you know what, I just have to cut all that off and focus on this, because that's what lights me up and that's what feels good. So it's about being comfortable with saying no. And so, as I said, you know, earlier, is that saying no is more powerful than saying yes. So when I was consulting, I'd say yes to everyone, because we all want more clients, we all want more money, and we want it all. But if you're not working with the right clients, you're going to end up resenting them. You're going to end up not getting the results for them. You're not going to end up wanting to actually do the work with them. So go and find the clients that you love working with, that light you up, that are your ideal clients, that you know that resonate with your message, that, you know, are energized when they talk to you. They can see the results. They go, wow, thank you. And, you know, that's what you want to work with. You don't want to work with someone that doesn't feel aligned. And I think, you know, you'll start to see all the results when you've got everything right, you know, here and in here, and all those things that I've spoken about, you've got that right. You'll see the results everywhere. You know, all your relationships will be so much better. Everything will be easier. Everything will be flow, and you know, happier, healthier life and business.
I think it's like, it goes back to the saying, and if you find something or find a hobby that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's 100% true. But yeah, it's like everything you've said, I've just sort of resonated with all of it.
Because it's what they say. When you do what you love, it doesn't seem like work. And you know yourself when you're sitting there doing something, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be personal, it could be business, and you're sitting there doing something, and you do it, and then you look up, and it's like, oh, it's 1 o'clock. I haven't even had lunch.
Yeah.
I just want to keep going, and then you go and have lunch, and you're quickly eating because you want to come back and do it because you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting there doing something that you don't love, like you're doing it, you're looking at the clock, you're looking at the clock, and you're like, then you start to look at something else, and then you get distracted, and you're like, oh. Or you'll start something and go, oh, I need to do that thing next, that thing that I don't want to do, that thing that I don't like, I need to do that. And you keep looking at it on your to-do list. I don't have to-do list, by the way. I have action list. And you look and you go, oh, I've got to get to that. And so you keep procrastinating, you keep putting it off.
Yeah.
And they're the types of things that you've either got to say, I don't want to do them, I'm going to say no, or I'm going to outsource them to someone else, or I'm going to delegate them to somebody in my team if you've got a team. Or those are if you absolutely have to do that, do it when you're energized the most, when you're most focused. So for most, it'll be first thing in the morning. Or if you're an afternoon person, that's the first task you do in the afternoon. Because, as you said, it's when you're doing what you love, your day flows and you're energized. And that's all about being, doing what you're passionate about, being in flow. Because, when you've got a river and the water's flowing down, it flows nice and easy and it's easy. But when you start to put boulders in, then you're starting to, hit them on the way down. So, I don't know whether you've seen that the pebble analogy where you have a beacon and you put the sand in, and then people start to put the rocks and the pebbles in. That's not going to fit. But if you do the things that are important to you, so you put the rocks in and then the pebbles, and then you pour the sand over the top, well, then everything fits.
Yeah. So
it's just about where you set your attention to and your focus and what's important to you. So for me, myself, so for years I've put my family first. I've got 4 kids, as I said, and it was always mum life, wife life, being a daughter, being a friend, and then my business, and then I came last. I flipped that. I now come first, because if I'm not energized, if I'm not healthy, if I don't have good food and all that sort of stuff, well, then I'm going to fall to pieces. And it's happened because I did. A couple of years ago I burnt out and I was a mess. And it's about looking after you. It's like when you go on a plane, fit your oxygen mask and then fit the ones around you. It's the same thing. It's so simple. Look after yourself, and then, family, friends, and business. So we were so, taught to put your business first, and, everything, you do your business and then, everything else. And then you at the end, no, you're first. So that's a big aha moment for a lot of people. They're so busy focusing on everything else, and particularly with parents, like they're so busy focusing on the kids. But if you're not at your full capacity, and if you're not present, and you don't have mental clarity, and you're not energized, you're not going to be very good with your kids. We're not going to be good for your kids. You need, and the other thing too is you're a role model for your kids. So if they see that you're always tired and cranky, and you're always on your computer or always on your phone, and when you're sitting there with them, you're on your phone, or, you're out doing something, you're always taking calls or getting back to customers, well, then they're going to think that that's okay, and they're going to think that that's what they need to do. And that's the big thing I've been with my kids, is that, because and they all work, it's about, take as many hours as you can get, do as much work, be present when you're at work, do everything, any opportunity that comes your way, take it. But your health is always more important. If there's something on for family, well, then family comes before work. So I think that's the biggest thing. Looking after, we always talk about ourselves and the future, but it's that future generation. And like you said, you've got 2 young girls, is that we're a role model for them, and they can see the behaviours and the habits we put in place. So I think that's a big thing on my messaging, is that if you're eating really well and you're putting healthy, nutritious food on the table for your kids, and you don't have rubbish in in the pantry and the fridge, well, then they're not going to have that. They're not going to have crap. If you don't have crap in your house, they're not going to eat crap.
Yeah.
If you then, that's the kind of way you eat, well, then we know when they move out of home, they're going to eat takeaway, they're going to eat rubbish, whatever. That's fine. But they're going to mainly consist of that healthy habits that you've ingrained in them as a child. And then when they go, and start their own families, they're going to be having the same healthy habits. It's the same habits when you come to how much screen time you have or how much time you spend on your business or where you put your priorities. Your kids are watching everything you're doing. They're listening to everything you're doing. They say the first 7 years of a child's life is pretty much all of their habits and everything ingrained in that 7 years. What they learn from that onwards is actually nothing in comparison to that first 7 years. That's where they're watching what you're doing. They're watching you walking, so then they start to walk. They watch you eating, so then they start. We don't realize how much our kids are watching what we're doing. And I think that's the biggest thing. As parents, we know that we influence them and we're a role model, but do we really know how our mindset works and how we look at how we spend our time and where we put our attention? Our kids really watch that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't up until, probably that 2 years ago when my kids were like, Mum, you're on your phone all the time. Oh, Mum, you're on your phone again. And I just went, wow, you know what, I am. And so now, we don't have any phones at the dinner table. It's just making sure that watching what habits we're passing on to that next generation. Yeah. Particularly when we're connected, and they're really connected because they live, they've grown up in that online space. Yeah. So I think that's the big thing as well. You're so busy watching your habits and what you're doing, but watch what you're passing on to your kids is another thing.
Oh, it's frightening. I was doing something the other day, and I think it was something like brush my teeth or something like that. And I turned around, and my eldest daughter's there watching me and just copying. And I was like, Christ, you watch absolutely everything.
Yeah.
But you're so engrossed with everything else, your technology, work, and everything else, that you don't actually realise how much they are watching.
Absolutely.
And it's quite scary when you sort of sit back and think, oh, right, okay, I've really got to watch what I say, what I do, the way I act. It's quite frightening.
Yeah, and that comes back to what I said before about being present. So if you're present in the moment, watching what you're doing and watching, their reaction to it or what they're taking in rather than being on your phone or whatever, you can start to pick up on that, they're watching, it's like, when the kids start to walk because they see you walking, or that's why you got that first swear word, because, up until a certain age, you can say or do whatever you want because the kids aren't really taking it in. But then when they say that first swear word, it's like, oh, and where did that come from? And then like an hour later, one of you will say that word, and like, oh, it came from you. So, it's that, and it's those little moments particularly when kids are younger. I mean, obviously mine are older now, but they still watch everything I do. And so we were like that with drinking too. Like we started to drink, have a wine every night, and it'd be a thing where you stand there cooking dinner, and you'd have a wine while you're cooking dinner, and then I'd probably have like half a wine cooking dinner, and then I'd have the other half during dinner, and then generally that beer. Yeah. And then it's like, the kids are like, you guys are drinking every day. It's like, we're only having one glass. And it's like, they're actually seeing us drinking every day. And when they actually said that, it was like, yeah, okay, this is going to stop. We're just going to drink, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But it's, you don't realize because that just becomes part of your routine that, you're in the kitchen cooking a meal and you just have that glass, and you're not, it's not an alcoholic because you have one, it might be like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you're having that one glass, but the kids see that and go, oh, you're drinking every day. But, it's not to the point where it's anything as an addiction, but it's like, and you don't realize how much they're watching. So, yeah, it's just things like that become a habit or routine for you that you don't realize how they perceive it as well. So,
yeah, so it becomes a habit, and it's once you get into it and do it a certain amount of times, same as the challenge, that's what they're sort of designed for, is to get you into that habit. They say, was it first 30 days, and then it becomes second nature.
Because it's about 21 days to break sort of old routines and habits, 30 days to really, hit that switch. The reason why 75 hard is 75 days, because that's where it really becomes ingrained, where it just becomes second nature and you do it. And because the mental shift is so big, it does take 75 days. And there's 3 more phases after this where it's only 30 days each. And it brings more into it every time, like cold showers and different tasks you've got to do. But honestly, if you can do 75 days of anything, you can do anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, I've just realised it's been over an hour we've been talking. It's just, this is brilliant. But I don't want to take too much of your time I know you're going to be quite busy.
Yes.
So.
No, I shouldn't say busy. I don't like the word busy. I think it's I don't know what other word to call it. I saw something yesterday and it says we shouldn't be saying busy because the busy's, I don't know. I need to think of another word for busy. So if someone's out there and they know another word for busy, it's not even productive. I don't like that word either. But yeah, I think impactful in everything I'm doing rather than busy. Because we can be busy, but is it good? Is it a good busy? I think we're so quick to say, I'm busy. And I say it all the time. Again, comes back to always I'm busy. And then my daughter goes, oh, we're busy. So then now it's this in joke between her and I about every time you got to ask something, oh, I'm busy. Like it's a joke. And again, that comes back to because I was always saying, oh, I'm busy. And now it's an in joke between my daughter and I that I'm busy. I'm busy reading or I'm busy cooking or I'm busy sleeping. Like it's just, that's how much they take in what we say.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, definitely, 100%. Well, I think you're definitely going to be quite impactful with everyone that listens to this. I think there's been some huge takeaways that I'm going to take away from it myself. Which it's exactly why I set it up, so I can speak to different people and get different things from other people's opinions. And I think the problem with this day and age, I think it's people are too, rather than talking and expressing and accepting other opinions, they're too quick to jump on them and
absolutely
and start arguments and attacking, and it's a bizarre world at the minute.
It is, for sure. And that's the thing, we've been under so much stress and uncertainty and that for so long, and that's why these things are so important now. All the things that we've spoke about today are more important than ever because we're so connected, we've had so much change and so much shift, and there's still so much uncertainty out there, and people are really starting to think, am I doing what I really want to do? Am I doing what I love? And that's where people are starting to go, well, you know what, I need to really think where my priorities are. There's been so much uncertainty over the last sort of 18 months, but there's also been some great stuff come from it. People are more connected with people. They've been doing a lot of self-development. People have been doing exercise that they never did. People are thinking, well, you know what, I was commuting for an hour a day each way and I don't want to do that anymore. So, they're working from home, or they're finding different roles, or they're getting, flexibility with their employer, or, people starting businesses that they would have never done before because they didn't have the time, or their focus was on something else. And there's been so much good come from it as well. And I think it's been a really good kick up the butt for people to say, well, you know what, here's a time, you're never going to get a chance like this again in our lifetime, to go, okay, what I want to do, what can I change? Because we've all had that time where we could either stay doing what we're doing, or we can all shift. And I think everyone's shifted in some way. And I think normally to do that kind of shift would take a long time and people probably wouldn't necessarily do it. But I think this has given people the push to go, you know what, go and do something you love, change your life, change your diet, change what you're doing. And I think everyone has shifted forward positively in some kind of way. So, and I think, that's sort of what we want as a society. I think we've shifted so much for the better. I mean, I know there's a lot come out of it. There's been a lot of mental health issues. There's been a lot of financial impact. There's been a lot of crap stuff. I had a 5-week holiday in Europe that got canned. I had a 2-week trip in Bali that got canned. I haven't seen my mum since April, and she's only, an 8-hour drive away, but we can't physically at the moment cross borders. And, there's been so much pain and heartache. And I don't want people to focus on that. I want them to focus on how much good has changed, how people have connected that would never have connected before. All the online meetings in Zoom are like, the amount of people that are connected that would never have come across each other, and that have been able to do collaborations that would never have happened before. And people have, done 360s in their careers, or started different businesses, or had a business that's taken off, or there's been so much goodness come out of it. And I think in life, if we focus on the positive and what opportunities are out there, but also what opportunities can we take up, because not all opportunities are great, and it's about coming back and going with your gut feel, like, okay, is this going to be good? Does it feel right? And like with intuitive coaching that I do, it's all like, okay, what's your gut feel? How does it feel? Rather than leading with our head all the time, it's leading with your heart and your gut. And because most of the time, if it doesn't feel right and your gut's a bit funny on it, that's not right. If you've got a great feeling about it and it feels right and it energizes you, then it's going to be fine. And It might not quite work out the way that you want, or you might not go exactly along that path, but as long as it feels right, you might tweak it and you'll get there along the way. So I think that's the biggest thing, just, be positive, and if you're open to opportunities, the opportunities will come. And as I said before, if you're showing up authentically as you're feeling that you're energized and all that stuff that I've spoke about, then opportunities will open up. You just got to be open to them and believe. So
that's a big thing these days, isn't it? A big thing is believing and manifesting, and there's sort of a load of videos on TikTok, especially. There's a lot of manifestation videos. Yeah,
and that's the thing, like manifesting again. It's not for everyone, but it's all about, if you've got a dream. So this is a big part of the passion test. If you've got a dream out there, it's great. But if you're not taking daily action, so if you haven't got, so in the passion test, you have different markers so that, that's what your passion. So you've got your 5 passions. If you know that's the 5 things you want to focus on, that's what lights you up, that's where you want to put your attention to. So then you have markers, which is sort of like you have signposts so that you know what you've got to do to get you closer to living that life of passion. So, if you want to be able to travel the world, okay, well, what have you got to do to be able to do that? So you're obviously, if your business needs to be online, or you need to be able to work in different countries doing different physical work, then what are you going to do to get there? What are all the different shifts, and what are the goalposts so that you can go, okay, I've done that now, tick, and that's moved me forward to my next one. So a bit like goals. And you need to be able to make sure that, when we talk about business plans and marketing plans, we've got it there, to get to this, we need to do this. And so it's about making sure you're taking action. And when you take action and you can tick that goal, you get confidence. And so confidence is what leads to success. And the more action you take, the more results you get, and you can tick it off, you get more confident. The more confident you get, the more action you'll take. And so it becomes that sort of, revolving circle that, we just take that little step. You don't have to take big steps, and you don't have to be always think about the end goal. Just think about the next one. So I don't believe in 5-year plans. I just believe, let's look at the next 90 days and go, okay, well, to get to there, I need to do that for the month. So then for the week, I need to do this. So for the day, I need that. Okay, so for today, I need to do that. Tomorrow, I need to do that. If I take one little tiny action, it could be anything. It could be something really small. If I take one little tiny action each day, so if I do that over a week, I'm 7 steps closer to reaching that goal or that passion. If I do that over a month, I'm between 28 and 31 steps closer to getting that. And the more inspired action you take, the more confidence you get, the more belief you have in yourself, and the closer, you're going to get to it. Like the attention that I've put on 75 hard over these 75 days is the reason I've ticked every single task off. It's the reason I've lost 10.3 kilos. It's the reason that I've had this massive mindset shift and everything's changed, because I purely put my attention and focus on the program and having that shift that I signed up for, that mental shift. So if you put that focus and attention to anything in your life, whether it be business or personal, because, it's personal goals and business goals, that's the power of, living passionately, is that all of this comes into that, you don't have to have a 5-year plan, because so much changes in 5 years. I think 5-year plans are ridiculous. 2-year plan, you could have a sort of 2-year plan as a bit of an overall, but you need to keep the action there, because it's that action that brings the confidence. If you're confident, then you're going to show up confidently as well. So there was a point that I was going to make there, and I've gone totally off track, but anyway.
No, that's fine. I think you made quite a few points there, quite valid points anyway. That I think you've offered quite a bit of information and some valid points that I think quite a few people are going to take away from it anyway.
Awesome, cool.
But it's been absolutely amazing to have you on. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. Can't wait till the episode comes out.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and get it all edited and intros, outros and everything added to it now, and then hopefully I'm hoping try to get it out over the weekend. So, and every week from there, hopefully. So bit of work to do.
Yeah, look, it's like mine. I started out weekly and then went to fortnightly, then let it have a break for 4 weeks while I was away, and I felt that if you want to do it weekly, do it weekly. If you want to do it fortnightly, do it fortnightly. And there's nothing wrong with changing it up. to what feels right. And mine are a combination of conversations with other people or doing solo episodes. So
Right.
I just go with what works. So like, I don't always put an episode out there every week, because if it doesn't feel aligned or if something else is happening, well, then you know what, that's how I roll. I don't put the pressure on myself. So no, I can't wait to watch your podcast grow and see the amazing guests that you've got coming on. And I hadn't listened to your first episode yet, but I have it on my screen, so I'm going to go and have a listen to that. But yeah, if anyone's out there listening and they've resonated with anything I said, jump over to socials. I'm sure you put links to socials on my website.
Yeah.
Please, message me and let me know, what you thought, if something resonated. I'd love to hear from you. If you've put any of these things that I've mentioned in place and, they've made an impact for you, please let me know. I would love to hear, I'd love to come on podcasts so I can share my messaging, share my story, share my journey, and hopefully a few gold nuggets along the way that's helped. And I just think that, if a couple of things I've said have helped you, I would love to know. And, if you want to delve into any of this, reach out. I'd love to work with you in whatever capacity. I'm online, so I can work from anywhere, work with anyone, anywhere. So, people all around the world that I work with. So, definitely reach out.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And make sure you share this podcast too. And, make sure you subscribe to Mike's channel. And, if you love what you've heard today, make sure you go and review it and share it, because that's the best way to get Mike's podcast out there and to get, our conversation and the things that we've spoken about out there to more people. Because at the end of the day, that's what a podcast is about. It's what Mike and I are about, to really, get our message in and our strategies and all of our thoughts and beliefs and all that out there, so that we can help other people, because that's what lights us up at the end of the day. So, and I think there's so many synergies between, what you're trying to do and what I'm trying to do. And, we just, the more we can collaborate and help, to have conversations like this, just to get things out there and start conversations, so that someone else can go, oh, you know what, I need to talk to someone, or maybe they can then go and talk to their friends and, say, hey, let's start walking or something like that, or talk to their partner about, okay, well, how can we switch to healthier meals, or how can we change the mindset or the relationship that we have. So if we can do that for one person,
amazing. Yeah. So, well, I've definitely got another subscriber anyway. So I've been on your podcast today and on your website, and I've been creeping about the website.
All good. Creep away.
So,
there's a few tweaks happening to it at the moment, so it will change over the next few days. But yes.
Oh, brilliant. So on that note, where can people find you?
So they can find me on Instagram, the Sharon Cliffe, Cliffe with an E. Online, sharoncliffe.com.au. On LinkedIn under Sharon Cliffe. Facebook, Sharon Cliffe. And I'm on Twitter, again, Sharon Cliffe. I do dabble a bit on TikTok, not very often. And so come and find me. Definitely, follow the conversation in the DM. I would love you to come in there and ask me anything. I have a free session where you can come and talk to me and work out what you want to work through, and work out whether we're right to work for each other. I don't sort of pressure anyone. I'm not into the big salesy pressure thing. It's let's catch up and see what's going to work, what you need help with, and if I can help you. At the moment for Black Friday sales, it depends when this comes out, but up until the end of November, if you buy an hour coaching session, you pay for 1 hour, get 2 hours. If you buy private coaching, you can get a 6-month package for the price of 3. So basically it's a buy one, get one free. So yeah, you get 6 months, but you only pay 3 months. And I do have a group mastermind coming later next year. But yeah, if you want to work with me, definitely jump on my social media and my website, have a stalk, do whatever. And if it resonates with you and you love my energy, then reach out and let's start the conversation, because that's what it's about, starting the conversation and seeing how I can help, what you're struggling with, and let's get you to a happier life.
Amazing. On that note, I think we shall wrap it up there.
Awesome.
But no, like I say, really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much for jumping on for my second episode. And I think it's going to be quite a big one. I think a lot of people will listen to it and take quite a bit of information, and I hope you do. A lot of people that listening do get in touch, because I think what you're promoting is fantastic, and I think it's really going to help a lot of people, a lot of businesses, especially as well.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thank you so much, and I will be sharing the episode as soon as I see it come out.
There we are. I'll be in touch afterwards once it's all edited and let you know beforehand.
Awesome. All right, thanks very much, Mike.
There we are. So if you just send me all the links, and I can add them underneath them in the description.
Perfect. Yep,
Great
we'll
stuff.
do.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Right,
bye.
bye.
Bye.